Hi there, I'm Richard. Welcome to Burning Spears. Today I'm going to be making a delicious South African snack. It's a dried sausage, almost like a dried boerewors or a Droewors, which translates to dry sausage. So it's an air dried sausage. It can comprise of beef or beef and lamb. That's pretty much the limits. You could, I suppose, add pork. Not really Droewors traditionally, but you'd have to add curing salts to that. So I'm going to start today. I've saved up quite a bit of trimmings off of big cuts. I put them in my freezer, and yesterday I took everything out, and I'm going to produce some sausages. So basically, I start with my lamb. So I'm going to weigh out the lamb, and then I'm going to decide how much sausage I can make based on that. So you're more or less aiming for an equal portion of lamb to an equal portion of beef in my recipe. And I'm going to make sure that there is a 20% fat to 80% meat ratio, more or less on the eye. 70-30 or 30-70 is too oily and greasy for me. 80-20 is good. You can go leaner on there as well. It's not a race to be the fattiest bite ever. If you were maybe a little bit more health conscious than I am, you could go 15% fat, but certainly I wouldn't go much lower than that. But all to their own. So I'm going to weigh up this lamb and get some beef alongside, and then we'll get stuck into the processing. Okay, so I've got 1.5 kilos of beef, 1.5 kilos of lamb. I've got a little bit of beef fat on there to bump up the fat content, and then this lamb is quite fatty. These are gorgeous and amazing bits of lamb leg. They call them lamb chuck. Amazing flavor, great fat content, and then a bunch of trimmings from some other things. It's a cold day, so I don't need to worry too much about working quickly and flies and all that sort of thing, which is great. I'm basically now just going to chop this up so that it will fit in my grinder. I'll chop them up, and then I'll run through the spicing with you and the next phase. Okay, so now I'm going to measure out and add the spice and the liquid to the mix. Garlic powder, 2 grams. Allspice, 4.8 grams. Ground black pepper, 2 grams. Freshly ground black pepper. 2 grams of cloves. 4 grams of nutmeg. 4.8 grams of ground coriander. I toasted this all fresh in a pan, and I've ground it myself, so I get a nice little bit of chunk on that. 20 grams of kosher salt. Okay, then I'm going to go 36 milliliters of red wine vinegar. Same with Worcester sauce. Okay, so you could do this well before time. I'm going to You could do it overnight, say, let it marinate. But I'm not too bothered because when I grind it through, all of the flavor and everything will get pushed through the meat. So not an issue. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put this mix in the freezer so that it can harden up for the grind. Okay, right, so I've got my mincer here. I've got the meat to mince for the Droewors, and then I've got my 2 dyes. That's the thick one. I'm going to use the thinner one for the Droewors because such a thin sausage casing that's used for that one. Whereas with Boerewors I use a thick one, about 8mm, 6mm, 8mm. Okay, so a lot of videos will tell you that you need to make sure that these are in the freezer, all that sort of thing. It's cold today, so I don't really need to worry. This is burning me, but when I touch it. So great day for it. And I'm just going to grind this all up. One pass through, I'm not going to put it through a second time. So now I'm going to pack this in the tube, and you want to make sure that you don't get any air in, right down to where you squeeze it through. Right, so that was quite nice and easy. I'm very fortunate. This is way easier with 2 people than with 1. If there were 2 people, which I don't have the luxury of today, I would essentially be guiding the pressure and moving the sausage away to get a nice uniform fill. With 1 person you sometimes get bends, kinks, twists and a few air bubbles, but I'm not too bothered about that. This is for my own consumption. And it'll still be pretty good anyway. You always have some water on hand. Okay, so it's hanging time. I've made quite a nice bit here. So I've got quite a tall dryer. You'll see it in a moment. So I can pull out like meter long pieces, but they are a bit unmanageable. Some people are a bit squeamish or more hygienic than I am, and they would cover a wooden dowel with cling film or something like that. But that doesn't bother me. I'm African. My gut is a very strong one with what I've eaten in my life. So I just, and plus I'm lazy, so I just go ahead and use that. So basically, I'm going to go for lengths. Like this one is a short piece, so I'm going to go down in the middle. Now what I want to do is I want to carefully squeeze the meat down a bit so that I get a gap in the meat. Some people use hooks, all sorts of things, but I'm basically going to hang it over the dowel like that. Then when you're watching it over the next couple of days while it's drying, you just want to make sure that they move apart and they don't sit together like this, where mold can grow or the drying won't be as complete. So I'm basically going to look at prepping all of this and getting it hung. Okay, so yeah, you can see I'm hanging them. Like I say, I'll keep an eye on them sticking together over the next few days while they dry. I've got 2 ceramic heating elements in the bottom, 2 USB fans up top, so air vents at the bottom, so the USB fans pull the warmed air through, maintaining air circulation, which assists in the drying process and stopping any mold from building. Okay, so here they're all hung up. I'm going to switch on the heaters, switch on the fans, close up and check on them in the coming days and show you the end result. Really looking forward to eating them. Okay, right, it's been 3 days. Actually dried very quickly. Let me get them off the sticks. Okay, so as you can see, they've shrunk quite a bit and they've got a nice snap. Real dry. I like them a little bit more moist, but that's good, that's what you want. So I've got a nice little pile to eat for the next few days, day or two. Alrighty, so that's Droewors, that's Droewors. Now my mouth's watering. So anything dried, generally when you bite into it, I can't even talk properly, man. When you bite into it, you need to allow the stuff to rehydrate slightly. So something like this, you've got to chew for a bit. Really happy with that, actually. Slight hint of clove. You get that sweetness from the Worcester sauce. The light tart of the vinegar in there. Very, very good. Very chuffed with this. My recipe spreadsheet still works, so I'm happy with that. And I hope you enjoyed seeing this. For those non-South African viewers that never had this before, I hope you get to try this at home. Really, it's not difficult and very rewarding, and it keeps very well. So yeah, it's like a power food. You know what's in it: meat with a bit of fat and some herbs and spices. So all around very good. That's it. So I've packed this in a big Ziploc bag where it'll keep for weeks in the fridge. And you just got to make sure that when you take it out the fridge to eat it, it must come up to room temperature so that the fat isn't cold and white. It'll keep for a week or so in a brown paper bag, but slowly dry out outside of the fridge. So it's very versatile and just all around great.